The good news, ladies and gentlemen, the American people are not going to die under President Trump and his great administration because the goal is to make America great again.
All right, y'all, it is a battle of the acronyms this week. We got the GOP going after the FDA by way of MTG, and I promise by the end of this video, you will be dumber, or at least incredibly confused. But first, a moment of silence for every tradwife's Instagram account. I'm just kidding. Let's get this nightmare started.
We can also talk about how the FDA bans raw milk, which is ridiculous. Raw milk is sold in countries all over the world. Countries like England, New Zealand, France, Italy, Germany, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark. Raw milk has been here since the beginning of time, and many Americans not only produce raw milk, they'd also like to sell it, and many consumers would like to be able to buy it. But the FDA has declared war on anything natural and good.
Yeah, we've had raw milk since the dawn of time. If only there was a way to fact check. Oh, actually, I do have the official Republican science textbook right here. Let me just see. I think that'll probably be in Genesis. And oh yeah, in the beginning was raw milk. I could have sworn it said something different before, but I guess that's the Mandela effect for you. Anyway, if you're still curious what your uncle's Facebook feed would look like if it came to life, here's more Marjorie Taylor Greene, who I think at this point is just reading memes off of her phone.
The FDA is a failure to approve new nicotine products, which are safer than cigarettes, has spawned a massive and dangerous illegal market of Chinese vapes. No one trusts many of the products, especially anything laden with chemicals coming from China, because China, after all, has been murdering Americans for years now, and Americans are dying every single day from fentanyl that comes in our country.
We got raw milk, COVID, Chinese vapes. This new season of Drag Race is going to blow your mind. I do think that if you let Marjorie Taylor Greene just talk and talk and talk here, eventually she would find a way to blame the FDA for the existence of, drag queens. Because what they're doing is fear-mongering. It's not about facts, it's about feelings. Isn't that kind of like their whole thing at this point? But they better be careful, because one day, one of these fear-mongers is going to end up getting caught in a web of their own lies. What's that? Oh no, someone help FDA Commissioner Marty McCary. He got stuck.
You just said don't trust the CDC.
We're saying it's going to be between a doctor and a patient until that committee meets or more experts weigh in or we get some clinical data. If there's zero clinical data, you're opining. I mean, it's a theory. And so we don't want to put out an absolute recommendation for kids with no clinical data.
So you made this pronouncement as well on pregnant women. There is data. Researchers in the UK analyzed a series of 67 studies, which included 1.8 million women. And the journal BMJ Global Health published it. People can Google it at home. And it says the COVID vaccine in pregnant women is highly effective in reducing the odds of maternal SARS-CoV-2 infection, hospital admission, and improves pregnancy outcomes with no serious safety concerns.
All right, so maybe McCary was caught in a lie, but honestly, I think the FDA commissioner has more important things to worry about than scientific studies, okay? Like how angry his wife is going to be when she finds out he shrunk the kids. Now, here's McCary saying that despite the data, there is no data, and pregnant women should not get the COVID vaccine, except pregnant women should get the COVID vaccine, or at least they should have before, but now it's all very confusing.
So here's the data on pregnant women. A randomized control trial was set up, and it was closed without any explanation. We wanted to see that trial complete so women can have information that in a randomized control trial, which is the gold standard, this is what the data shows. We don't have those data.
All right. It is still unclear what pregnant women now should do until they get the data that
I'd say talk to their doctor.
When do they get the data you're promising? All these controlled studies.
In the absence of data, they should talk to their doctor, and their doctor will use their best wisdom and judgment.
FDA Commissioner, thank you for trying to help clear this up.
You're crushing it, McCary. You keep spreading doubt at this rate, you're getting hired by ExxonMobil to talk about climate change. But let's spice it up. Why don't you try talking just in like bumper sticker statements? Because you know your demo isn't super big into compound sentences, right? Just make sure you speak in vague generalities so no one understands what you're actually saying.
And the modern medical establishment really has been disconnected. We've been so busy focusing on treatment, on billing and coding in a high throughput model. We've got to stop and ask ourselves, should we be focusing more on school lunch programs, not just putting every kid on Ozempic? We've got to talk about food as medicine and gut health and the microbiome. We've got to talk about environmental toxins that cause cancer, not just the chemo to treat it. And maybe we need to treat more diabetes with cooking classes, not just throwing insulin at people. This report is a fresh new approach that really calls for a transformation of our healthcare system.
I might be hallucinating, but I think the good doctor said reproach there instead of approach, which could be considered a Freudian slip. But honestly, I don't know. It was kind of hard to understand him. I think he was choking a little bit on his own BS. That said, I am all for sending children to cooking classes. You know, I've said that my entire life. I hope they make a television show out of it. I will watch it. I'm also all about an ounce of prevention being worth a pound of cure. In fact, you know it's incredibly effective at preventing diseases? If this, you guys brought it up. So, I mean, if you look at the data, it's actually raw milk. Oh, wait, no, it's vaccines. Fortunately, our leaders have remained nothing but steadfast, crystal clear, and consistent about vaccines. Here's RFK Jr.
You have gained notoriety for your skepticism about vaccines. And over the summer in an interview, you said, quote, there's no vaccine that is, safe and effective. Do you still believe that?
I never said that.
So stop me. We have the clip. Please play the clip.
I just
talked about that the media slanders you by calling you an anti-vaxxer. And you've said that you're not anti-vaccine, you're pro-safe vaccine. Difficult question. Can you name any vaccines that you think are good?
I think some of the live virus vaccines are probably averting more problems than they're causing. There's no vaccine that is, safe and effective.
So what are we doing here? I'll take a stab at it. I don't know if you guys remember earlier when Rick Moranis said that the modern medical establishment is disconnected. Well, that's just one example of rhetoric, and rhetoric is designed to elicit emotion, namely doubt about what all those little doctors have been saying, have been, trapped in the system. But if you're a pregnant woman and you're wondering whether the FDA recommends you getting the COVID vaccine, well, mum's the word. You're going to need to talk to your disconnected and out-of-touch doctor, because the FDA isn't going to make a recommendation on that until there's data, and there is no data so long as they ignore all of the data that there is. And if you bring up an issue like, universal health care, and you say, hey, look at all of these countries that have managed to take care of their citizens when they get sick, well, then you'll get called like a radical communist or some other compliment. But take away raw milk, and all of a sudden Marjorie Taylor Greene becomes a geography expert. And she's like, but they have raw milk in Italy. It's like, yeah, what else do they have in Italy? Marjorie, name one thing that they have in Italy related to their healthcare. And the only point I'm trying to make here is that these people don't really believe anything. They don't even see language as like a lexicon for conveying meaning. They see it as artillery. And the sad part is, it works. I'm dumber than I was a few minutes ago, and I think you probably are too. And I'm sorry about that. But that's the world we live in, where we can't even have raw milk, which has existed before dinosaurs existed. And dinosaurs probably didn't even exist. I don't know if that's in, I know there's probably dragons. There's definitely giants. Anyway, please let me know in the comments whether you would rather have raw milk like they have in Italy or universal healthcare like they have in Italy. See you next time, y'all.